Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Kevin. I'm Antonia with L.
Hi.
Hi. Amazing film.
Oh, thank you.
Loved it. Thank you. So I was curious. You have said that you've caught a few people out. I think 4 it was, telling a different story at the end of Whitney's life.
Yes.
And you haven't specifically said that you think there was more to the story. What are your feelings about that now?
Well, I didn't come to any definite conclusions about it, but it seemed to me like there was something unanswered there. I don't think there was any foul play as such. Anyone killed her or anything like that. But I think that maybe the person whoever it was who brought her the drugs on that day, maybe somebody could identify. I couldn't identify them, and also I realized I started, interviewing everybody about what happened on that day, and spoke to many people. But then I realized that was going to be 20 minutes of the film in order to make sense of it. Plus, I didn't come to any definite conclusion that I could say X or Y. So I thought it really just occurred to me that the movie is not about Whitney's death; it's about her life, and so that's a subject for somebody else to tackle. Should they wish? But, I'm not saying they should, but yes, so it was one of those. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole and then kind of realised that was completely wrong.
But you left it as Mary having said.
Well, Mary, the whole sort of quest to sort of figure out what had happened there started because when I interviewed Mary Jones, she said to me that when she walked into the room where Whitney was, there was so much water on the floor, even in the room outside the bathroom, there was up to her ankles in water. But when she went into the room and she found Whitney, the taps on the bath were off. And she couldn't figure out how can all that water have come out if the taps were off. The explanation would be the taps, the water had overflowed. So she thought there was a mystery there. Now, I don't know what that means, and there may be nothing to it, but it's intriguing. I don't think anyone sort of sensible thinks that there's any real foul play at work, but what exactly the answer to that mystery is, I don't know.
Next question?
But it is like an Agatha Christie, isn't it? The taps were off, but the water was it's sort of mysterious.
Well, I want to ask Pat. Anyway, I had the pleasure of actually meeting Whitney the first time she came to LA. And it was pure accident. I was managing a rock band at the time, and she and the band were playing at the Roxy. So I got there and they were rehearsing. And there was nobody in that room but the band and her and some guy. And so she was just killing it. So I asked the lady, who is that down there singing? So her name was Whitney Houston. And she's got a new record out. I had to go down and see her. And being the only one in that room, she came over to the stage and sung to me for the whole rehearsal. And I have no way to document that. There were no cell phones. And then she came down and sat next to me, and we talked for about 10 minutes. So, and she was very vibrant. I mean, she was grabbing on me, and we were laughing. Well, you know how she was.
A young 18, 20-year-old girl at the time.
Yeah. So the question is...
How old were you?
Old enough. but the question is, the Whitney I met is not the same Whitney that I used to see on stage, because we ran into each other off and on. In fact, unfortunately, I was at the Hilton that afternoon that happened, because we were there for the Clive Davis thing, and people kept saying, this is another one I want to ask you, people kept saying they should have canceled it. Well, it happened right at the beginning. You know, the limos are already coming up, so I don't think they could have stopped that. But I'm just saying, over the years, how did you see her personality change? Because I really never saw that, especially when I saw her on stage. She was the same person I met, so.
Well, when you met her, she was single. She was just in the business. Life hadn't happened to her yet.
Oh, okay.
And you know, whenever you you're not the same when you're in your parents' home. Once you leave home, you're independent, you're on your own, you make choices for yourself, you meet new people. Life happened. So she grew up. You know, and when we grow up, we mature. You know, we're not the same people. We have some similarities of, you know, and foundations of how we were raised, but she was different because life happened.
Can Ty, you have a question?
Yes. Hi, my name is Ty with THAheadline. I just had a question in regards to how was the process gathering the exclusive videos of Whitney and getting the people to do interviews? Was that process hard? May you explain that to me?
Well, the footage of Whitney, the home video footage and that kind of material came from a whole variety of different sources. Some of it came from the estate by Pat. There was a great tranche of material which was outtakes which had been shot for I think it was a 1990 TV special called This Is My Life, is that right? And there was a lot of material that hadn't been used in that, including quite a lot of like high 8 footage, you know, home video footage. So there was stuff there and some great material of Whitney rehearsing for the AMAs it was. And so we used quite a lot of that. And then various friends of hers, Ellen LeVar, who was her hair person for many years, she had started recording stuff on video from I think 87, 88, right the way through to the 2000s. There was Joey Abergé, who was an A&R guy who worked with her in the 2000s. So a couple of other people who had worked with her and who had filmed things. So that's mostly where that came from. And then the rest of it comes from just an archive researcher, painstakingly, you know, phoning up the archives in Japan, saying, "What have you got?" Phoning up. But actually, surprisingly, there's less material out there than I thought. Actually, there were some amazing things we found, like the little bit of footage, audio of Whitney talking about the dream that she has that we use at the beginning and the end of the film, where she talks about this dream of being chased by a giant. I don't know who it is. That was from an interview that I don't think anyone had heard before, which was a rather great interview done for a Canadian TV channel. And then the interviews, well, that was really by having the family and the estate on board. A lot of people were then willing to talk to us who probably wouldn't have been otherwise. And then also Nicole David, who was Whitney's agent, her film agent for many, many years. She also helped us with people that she knew who had been around, you know, in the day. So we were lucky because of the cooperation of those closest to Whitney. We were able to persuade everyone to talk.
Awesome. And my last question, how long did that all take to gather all of this for this film?
Well, I met with Pat in January 2016, just after Sundance, and we met here in LA, and that was the first conversation that we had had. There had been many conversations prior to that with the producers and Pat, but that's when I kind of came on board. So I think Lisa, who's one of the producers, Lisa Erspamer, had been speaking to you about it for a long time, hadn't she?
She had. It's been some years. I would say right after Whitney's passing. Whitney herself, back maybe 1999, started to do a documentary, started filming. So we knew that she wanted to do a documentary, and that was the reason for it. With the continuation, it was just doing it with the right people. And when we started speaking about it again, Lisa, Nicole, and I, that's when Mr. David here was mentioned, and Kevin was mentioned. We were very blessed and lucky to get him on board, along with the Chans, Jonathan and Simon. So it's been about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, more or less 2 years.
Thank you.
Okay, and Richard?
Sure. I'm Janet Walker. And who made the decisions as far as the demise elements to include? There was the mention of a sexual assault as a child, and or some mention of that, and then there were the mentions of the drug use and of everything that was gathered. Who made the decisions, and were there a team of what?
Well, I guess I have to take blame for anything that's in the film. So ultimately, I guess in most instances it's my decision in cooperation with Pat and the producers to what to put in. But for the most part, it's my it's my judgment.
What happened regarding the sexual assault? Was there anything follow-up? Did anything follow up on that, or did that pass with her?
The woman in question, Edie, passed away
Okay.
6 years ago. So, and perhaps that should have been made clear in the context of the film.
Actually, it was longer. It was longer than 6 years, but
Okay, 2010 was it? 2008?
maybe around 2008, something like that.
10 years.
Right here? Kathy Huckett, the front on Pride will be the thing. I love Whitney. I grew up with music. She was just remarkable. And the movie was very bittersweet to see her life and the self-destruction and to see where she had come from to what had happened. And have the family members seen it and what was their reaction?
Well, we lived it,
Right.
so.
But did they think it was depicted appropriately? Do you think it was depicted correctly for Whitney?
It was, it's like a double-edged sword. When you have dealt, and the family has dealt with her from the day she was born to the day she died, dealt with every emotion. She's been gone for almost 7 years, and there's still a healing process that's going on. When you sit and you look, everything is really pale in comparison to her not being here. We could sit and we can watch home videos and and just the family sit around and just think about her. It doesn't matter to see her on screen or see pictures of her on a piano or open up a picture book and see pictures of her. It's all the same. She's not here. And I think that's the most important thing for us. We could look at anything. It's still not going to erase the fact that she's not with us anymore. And that's really the important thing. And right now we're just wanting to put things to rest, for closure, and there have been many stories and documentaries that are out there, and the timing for this was just perfect, for us. So in watching her and seeing her and just knowing the gift and talent that she had, and just the person that she was a beautiful person. When you're watching it, you're just remembering, because a lot of that stuff you have dealt with, and it's just remembering. And now is the time to really celebrate her. Celebrate her. You loved her for her music. That's what you were drawn to, not her personal life, because her life mirrors all of ours. And she has, just like we do, we deal with triumphs and tragedies and love and disappointment and joy and pain. She did too. And it's just a human story, and that's what everyone has to look at. It's a human story, just a story that was played out in public. With our lives, it's, the darkness is always in the shadows, but with hers, it was public. But she was a human person, and when we were watching that, it's like, wow, and some great moments you realize the talent that she had and the gift that she had, and it was special, and that's why you all loved her. And when you're watching that, I'm sure that's what you saw. You saw the pain and everything, but really look at the talent and the gift that God blessed us with.
Was there any fallout with Kanye West's decision to put that awful picture on Pusha T's new album with the drug paraphernalia that made the National Enquirer? And did that have any coincidence with the movie coming out? How people try to take advantage of publicity opportunities or whatever, but how did the family react to that, or has there been a reaction?
Could you elaborate on what you're talking about?
Well, Kanye West has an artist named Pusha T. And Pusha T is a rapper, and he has a new album coming out. And on the album cover is the picture that...
It was in the National Enquirer.
Right, the one that was on the cover of the National Enquirer with the picture of her vanity in the bathroom with all the drug paraphernalia, and he's using that for this guy's album cover.
Yeah.
So, you know, to me, I thought it was very insensitive. And then I wonder, okay, did that have anything to do with the film coming out? That, you know, all of this is happening at the same time. So, I don't know. And Kanye West,
Well, you know, we did make a statement, you know, we were disappointed, but, you know, even in Whitney's death, you know, no one is exempt from the harsh realities of the world. And, you know, that picture, that's not the first time the picture has been shown. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't address that in any other way than what it was. You know, we were disappointed, and that's all you can say.
I suppose the other side of it, though, is that even in its negativity, it goes some way towards showing, I suppose, people are still so obsessed and affected by that image as a huge power for people. And obviously they're using it in very much for shock value,
Right.
superficial shock values, but it does speak to the way that Whitney and her death are part of, so much part of popular culture still, many years after, you know, 6 years after her passing.
Sure. Was the experience of making the film different than you thought it would be, and if so, how different?
The experience was different because of Gary and Michael, I would say, in my opinion. I felt very good that they were speaking out. You know, they have had to share their sister for 3 decades, you know, to the world, and their mother. They've had to share her for a very long time with other folk, and have had to protect an image of an icon for many, many, many years. And she's no longer here, and the family has had to deal with that, you know, since her passing. And for them to be able to open up and just speak about themselves, they spoke about their truth as it relates to her, and it made me feel really good for them, you know, because like Kevin has always said in some of his interviews, it may have seemed like it was very therapeutic for them, you know, like taking the lid off of a pressure cooker, you know, and they're able to release. So for us, it was a good time and a good feeling, you know, although revelations were made, you know, it's okay. And like I always said, it's minute in comparison to her not being here. So
I think it's worth saying that from my point of view and from the whole production's point of view, it was a very happy production, and it was sometimes difficult and sometimes you know, challenging, getting hold of people, getting to appear on screen, getting the archive material, getting the music, but there was never any bad feeling between the estate and the production or anything. It's been very much from our point of view anyway, a very happy collaboration. And you know, from my specific point of view, I started off making this really with the purpose of trying to make an honest film about Whitney with access to all the people who really knew her, so that by the time people have seen this film, hopefully people will not feel the need so much to pry into her private life, to gossip about her, to talk about, because there it all is. And those who knew her best are talking about her. And then you can turn to the music and say, that's what's left. You know, we can stop the kind of conspiracy theories and the gossip, and actually turn to what is going to survive of her, which is the music.
exactly.
I have a question. Miss Pat, I have a question in regards to the past films made about Whitney. What are your opinions on those? And with Bobby Brown having his own documentary coming out, do you have any input or say of what is said about Whitney in his documentary?
No, he was married to her, so therefore his story is his story. You know, they were married for probably 14 years, and he is Bobby Brown. And I always tell everybody, anyone that has life has a story. You know, and he wants to tell his story. He should be able to do that. You know, I'm hopeful that he tells the truth. You know, Because when you don't, it causes confusion and there's conspiracy theories, myths, whatever. But he's entitled, to tell his story because he was married to her.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I guess I would love to end with hearing each of you say, what would you like everyone to take away from this experience, from seeing the film? Because seeing the film is an experience. It's, even if you're not a fan, you kind of are sort of just dive into this incredible life. And I wonder what you would like everyone to take away from the experience.
Well, I think I've already sort of said what I think, which is I want people to take away a feeling that Whitney's talent is greater than anything else that's written about her and talked about her. And that's that we wouldn't all be sitting here if it weren't for that talent. And so I want people to come away from it, as I have come away from 2 years making the movie, feeling even more impressed with what she did. And even also, I still don't understand how she did what she did, because that's the thing about a great talent, is that you can't put it into words. What is it about her voice that is so affecting and so moving to people from all over the world? That's still the kind of the secret sauce that you'll never know what went into that.
Was she actually aware of the effect she was making on people? Because I mean, like I said, the first time I met her, she blew me away. I had to get down there, and her, the Roxy was empty that afternoon, and it was dark, and you could hear her voice echoing off the walls. Man, I was like, this woman's unreal. Did she actually have a grasp for the effect she had on people?
Whitney loved her craft. She loved singing. From a little girl, 5 years old, singing in the basement with a broom. She was a dreamer. She knew that she wanted to become a singer. She had great influences, coming from the drinker singers. Her mother, her cousin Dion, her brother Gary. She was around music royalty, and her mother helped her fulfill that dream. She prepared her, just as she did her sons, with both of them graduating high school and going off to college, the sons, and one playing Final Four and DePaul in the NBA. So she was, it was same as any other American family that had dreams and aspirations, but Whitney was able to fulfill her dream for only a short while. She was given to us one moment in time, and she fulfilled her purpose here.
But did she realize the effect? That's what I was trying to say. Did she ever say to herself, wow, when I seen people...
She was very humble when it came to that, but she loved her fans.
I think you could see in the clip in the film, is the home movie clip, where she's in the dressing room with her mother and she's complaining and saying, people think it's so easy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that clip, it just shows you she thinks that she has got this God-given talent and that she works hard at it, and these other people, who shall remain nameless, she's like going, it's all image. It's all image. I'm really giving it. So that just answers your question, I think, that she realized what she had, but she also realized she had to work at it.
Have you seen? Have you had any input from Clive Davis or Kevin Costner or any of her big supporters and fans?
What do you mean input?
They
They obviously contributed to the movie.
Right,
Yeah.
did they make themselves even more available? Did they say, if you need me anytime, call me, I'll give you whatever you want, or anything like that, or what was there?
No, I mean, interestingly, Kevin Costner, I think, was on Good Morning America the other morning, and he was asked about the film, and he hadn't seen it, which slightly embarrassingly, I think I had forgotten to get in touch with him. So I have actually just last night sent him a link to see the movie because he was very keen to see it. So slightly embarrassing. But and as for Clive Davis, he has seen the movie. I haven't spoken to him subsequently, but he's seen the movie.
Any got a question here?
Yes. So, in the process of making this film, obviously you have a lot more material than what could be included. And Kevin, you mentioned that you made the decision of what was included. What are the things that was not included and the decision for why?
Well, that's a very, I mean, there's lots of things weren't included.
Waiting to exhale.
Yeah.
Preacher's
You'd be somebody-
wife.
Well, I mean, obviously there are certain things that you can't go through every hit and every, you know, it has to be, even 2 hours is a long movie, so, you know, we probably made it too long as it is, but you have to make choices about what ultimately, for you as the filmmaker, are the most important things, but, and that, by which I mean the things that represent her life and her career the best. So it does mean leaving out a lot of great stuff, but you can't have it all. But I think also, I would have liked maybe to have had a little more context of Whitney's family. I think to talk more about the drinkers, singers, and the gospel influence, and you know where Whitney's parents came from. All of that I would have really liked to have gone into more. But again, that's more like we should have made the 4-part Netflix series. You know, Whitney Houston, Her Life and Times, or something, or you know, like the OJ movie, which was 6 hours or something. But you know, for a feature film, this is really we kept in as much as we could.
Is that on the table somewhere, the Life and Times? A 4-part Netflix?
So much more. Thank you guys so much, everyone. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.